Yo, what up guys? This your boy Traxx, and today we're installing the air pumper system on our Can-Am Off-Road X3. You want to see how it's done? It's time to get it.
Send it, send it, send it, yeah. Send it, send it, send it, yeah. Send it, send it, send it, send it, send it, send it, yeah. Send it.
Now, before you get started, there's a few things you gotta do to prepare to get that air pumper system in your Can-Am Maverick X3. As we get started, you wanna take out the seat, which has 4 bolts, 2 in the front and 2 in the back. Seat just comes out. Accessory panel, it's a nice piece of plastic right here. You wanna yank that out to access your accessory panel. Now, when we say cheat code, I mean a cheat code. Yo, my seat is already gone, my accessory panel is already ready for action. Let's get this thing installed.
Watch me pop a wheelie on that black Defender. Send it. You're pretending like you're just beginning. I got them death killers, lot of mud, a lot of women. Yeah, call me muddy bottom.
All right, guys, when you open up your box, you're gonna find yourself with 2 hoses. Unless you got the 4-person, you're gonna have 4 in there. You're gonna find yourself with the air filter that goes over top of your air pumper. And of course, everybody gotta have a good hairnet, right? So you're also gonna find some hose clamps. And these are gonna be for your mount, to mount your bar up, right? To make sure that air pumper is safe and secure. Then we got the Drake controller right here that controls the speed of the air to make sure it ain't too much or too little air pumping in your helmet. And then, last but not least, you're gonna find all of your wiring and harnesses to make sure that everything is plugged in and ready to roll. Now, before we start mounting this thing up in our Can-Am Off-Road Maverick X3, we wanna make sure that we're breathing in good, clean air. So get you some good old 91% rubbing alcohol and a microfiber towel. Go around the outer and the inner edges of both the pumper and your hoses.
I hit Fendi for a shopping spree. Send it. I'm in LA, broccoli. Send it. I'm at the beach on
Now, you head over to Record Radio, they might give you an option to get either C-clamps or some hose clamps to go over the crossbar of your Maverick X3. Now, we chose, of course, the hose clamp because we want to make sure that this thing is safe and secure when we're doing our jumps.
So wait, that chick on my back looking like you. Hey, tell the truth, I feel like Ray.
Hey guys, now for this job, you're gonna need a flathead screwdriver and a 3/16 Allen wrench.
Ran through 100 6 days.
Right, so keep in mind, you don't want to tighten these things up too much because the goal is to get them on the crossbar, but not too tight to get that air pumper on. Now remember, 3/16 Allen wrench, you want to make sure that both these screws on both sides are tightened down.
Yo, what up, this
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna tighten one down.
Rival Can-Am, and wherever y'all at, I need y'all to send it. Sand Hollow, middle.
All right, okay, so the tip of the day. Make sure before you install your pumper onto your rig, connect the hose first. This is an airtight system, so it's gonna be a little challenging to get on at first, but once it's on, it's on. Now that we got the hose on there, to make sure it's fully secure, make sure you tighten up that hose clamp. Now that we got this Mac Air system installed, as you can see, these hose clamps, they ain't budging. One thing to keep in mind, whenever you install this, wherever you install it, make sure that you have enough room for your air hose. You don't want to install it and then have to take it apart again. That's a bad look. Now, speaking of air filters, when you get this thing out the box, you gotta prep it, right? First thing you wanna do, give it a couple taps to make sure there's no debris inside. Second thing you wanna do, which this one's already been prepped, you wanna submerge this in warm, soapy water, clockwise a few times, counterclockwise a few more times, and give it a very light rinse, all right? You don't need to use any air compressors or any filter oils. This thing is good to go as it is. Now, once you get this thing prepped, it's time to install it right over the air pumper.
It's $4 million on my resume. Yeah, you know.
Now, when you open the box, you're gonna find a hairnet in there, right? This goes over top of the filter. If you wanna clean this, the same rules apply. Warm, soapy water, clockwise a few times, counterclockwise a few more times, rinse with some warm water, and slap the hairnet over top of the filter.
Got rich off 6 plays. I know how to run it up like 6 ways. Ran through 100 of them 6 days. No days off, not even sick days. All I know, I gotta get the rent paid.
As you can see, we got this Rugged Radios install rolling. And remember I was telling you about the Velcro strips, right? Yeah, so we're gonna just use those, not zip ties. Zip ties are cut into the wire, right? But we're gonna use those to guide our wire to our accessory panel. Now remember, the way I'm doing it may not be what's best for you. So wire routing is always a personal preference. So make sure you do what's best for you. And again, use these Velcro strips. You'll thank me later. One thing I love about Rugged Radios install is that you really can't miss when it comes to the wiring and the harnesses. The female end goes into the male end goes to the female end, and you got your 2 eyelets to mount on your accessory panel. You really can't go wrong. Now remember, these Velcro straps right here, you can get them nice and tight without them cutting into your wire. And like I said, you can't go wrong with the wiring. All right, guys. Remember, routing your wire is completely a personal preference. However, the reason why we're routing this wire harness the way that we are is because this Drake knob, our variable speed controller, it's gonna go right here. So that is gonna plug in to this, which is gonna get routed up right here through your control panel. So the next thing we have to do is install our variable speed controller, or as we call it, the Drake knob, right? So part of this harness is gonna go to your power and your accessory panel. The other one is gonna go to your actual pumper, right? We ran the wires already. It's gonna be a little hard to see, but we can get this thing installed.
Rex, that's the context. Send it, not a jet ski to see dude. And I only ride on water that be.
While we're back here, we're gonna connect the power and the variable speed controller to the air pumper.
Now I can stun like an evil. Hit the gas, throw it back. That's for the people.
Yo, anytime you're working on electrical, you want to disconnect the battery. Next up, we're going to install our power cords to the accessory panel. Now remember, you want to go with the top and bottom accessory panel nuts, right? Because if you install it on the middle one, if your car is off, that thing will keep running, it'll drain your battery down. Okay, now that all of our cables are ran and properly connected, we want to make sure we have good cable management. It is saving in the long run. So now let's see if this thing works. Yep, it works. It definitely works. Definitely works. Oh, now that we know that this thing works, now it's easier to just plug it into the adaptive part of the helmet. So now you got good, clean, fresh air everywhere you're going, all right? And you don't want to be breathing in all that dust and dirt and all that. If you remember the Vegas video that we did with Las Vegas Adrenaline Junkies, you know what we're talking about, all right? So anybody who needs a good air pumper and a good helmet to match, this is definitely your option. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this episode of Traxx with your boy Traxx. We had a great time installing that air pumper from Rugged Radios. Special thank you to Rival Motorsports for allowing us to use this wonderful space. And remember, please like, subscribe, follow Lead Mentor Grow on all your social media platforms.
No, it ain't no stopping me. Send it. I hit Fendi for a shopping spree. Send it. I'm in LA, broccoli. Send it. I'm at the beach on the arcade.